Yeah, I got fined for wearing the Crocs at Worlds, but I still wore them because, like, I don't know, it's crazy for fining me for wearing Crocs. It's light, it feels good to wear, so I like the Crocs, like, I mess with it, but I need new shoes.
These are nice. Can I try these on?
This is a new chapter for me going into my second year. I feel like in my rookie year, a lot of my roles were just helping the team win and them carrying and just helping them. But I think this year I'll be doing a lot of the carrying, and I think I really stepped it up, especially in the off season of how I practice, so yeah. The expectations for EG are really high. At least for me, I think we should win the whole thing and go to MSI, so yeah, I'll be pretty bummed out if we don't. When I first started off my career in spring, I mean, spring honestly wasn't too hot, at least in the regular season. I wasn't playing well, I was pretty bad, but during playoffs I improved and the team improved a lot, so we won the whole thing, and that felt really good, especially in my first split.
Yeah, they would look great on stage.
You know, we had a lot of momentum going into summer to win it all, but we came up short 3-2, so it definitely sucked not winning the whole thing in summer too. I think that kind of woke me and my teammates up a lot, kind of gave us like a realistic expectation because we all thought we would win it pretty easily, so that definitely gave us motivation to play well at Worlds, which, I mean, I would say we played well at Worlds, kind of. We still beat EU, so yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing.
Got one more pair of shoes. These are probably my favorite. I have all three.
There's definitely times when I talked trash and I lost. I mean, I guess you could say that backfired, but I don't know. I mean, it's more fun just talking, so that's what I do. I mean, I definitely have haters. I feel like everyone has haters, so I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. If I get more haters or I'm vilified, it still helps me too. And you know, more people are talking about me then, and even if they're hating, they're still talking about me. So, I mean, it helps me at the end. It kind of fuels me in a way where if I win and they were talking shit, then, you know, I can just laugh back at them kind of. So, I mean, obviously it feels good. So yeah, it definitely does give me some fuel.
Ooh, these look good. They feel nice. I like them. These are my favorite by far.
I feel like where I'm going right now with my arc, I mean, I feel like it's been good and then it went down a bit, and I feel like it's really gonna rise up again this split. We switched our top laner and ADC for FBI and Ssumday, so the 100 Thieves team. We already played some scrims, so I think we're a really good team so far. I think the roster looks really good, so I definitely think we're contenders for winning the whole thing.
Can I get a medium in these?
Me playing really well as a rookie obviously feels good, but you know, if I don't play well, then it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So I feel like the longevity really matters a lot, and I'm just trying to stay focused, and as long as I work hard, I think I'll be at the top for a very long time as long as I'm playing.
All right, thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, and it's probably a great time to remind you of how dominant Jojopyun was last year. It's insane to see. First in kills, assists, solo kills, CDSD. He was dominant in early laning phase in his first split, something that he talks about a lot, but downplays in the second split where he won first team All-Pro and a lot of respect among his peers. Got so much better working alongside his jungler too, and inspired. And eyes are on him and his team. He's got his Crocs on, so I'm already pretty happy. He's going up against Golden Guardians, and they have a message for all of you guys out there.
As someone who's been in the Golden Guardians for a long time, I've seen all the negative comments that everyone has said about us over the past few years. And I'm just here to tell you, you.
You.
Like, why does a team like Golden Guardians even stay in LCS? They don't have a single fan.
Boo! You!
Every year, this GG should sell their spot. GG is 10th place team. Well, guess what? You.
Cute.
You.
We believe in our team, and even if you don't, well, you get the point.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's make sure our cough buttons are working. You Golden Guardians.
Golden Guardians. All right?
Let's go.
I
I'm
can't do what I
actually
was
so
gonna do because I can't blur anything.
I'm actually so hyped. You know, all the teams have been putting out a lot more content this season as well. Golden Guardians with that video. They actually asked me before they release it, and they're like, you sure this is good? What if we lose and people make fun of us? So I was like, it doesn't matter. It'll be worth it anyways.
I loved it from Golden Guardians, but let's go ahead and introduce the teams playing in front of us here for the first time in Spring 2023. Over on Evil Geniuses, it's Ssumday in the top lane, finally not wearing a 100 Thieves jersey. Then you've got Inspired there in the jungle. Jojo is back at mid. They've got FBI replacing that bot lane role, and it's Vulcan on support.
Yeah, they kind of did a merge with 100 Thieves, picking up 2 of their members.
And then over on the other side, in the Golden Guardians, please join me in welcoming Licorice in the top lane. It's River in the jungle, Young at mid, Stixxay AD carry, and huhi on support.
Yeah, we've got because of visa issues, surprise, Young, the Academy mid laner, does get to step in here on the first stage game for Golden Guardians. So a lot of pressure on his shoulders. The rest of the team, though, excited to see what they can do.
I mean, it's not just the first stage game. You're up against Evil Geniuses as well, who are a serious team, as we saw them last year, really stepping up. Raz highlighting Jojopyun's specific dominance in the mid lane in summer. This is a hell of an opponent to have to test your mettle against before anything else.
Certainly is. So let's take a look at the bans then, if there's going to be any sort of protection bans here. Try and get them on some comfort champions. Usually that's going to be a very high priority when you have a player stepping up with very short notice, you know, onto the big stage like this. But looks like so far we've got at least Maokai bans on the side of Evil Geniuses, followed by the Ryze and Lucian. Again, no surprise. Ryze, 100% presence. Lucian, very, very high up there. Yuumi, we're still, of course, not on the hotfix B patch, which has the Yuumi nerfs in it. So taking that one off the table as well. And it looks like a lot of the LCS teams really valuing the early ganking of Elise.
Yeah.
This is a champion that hasn't gotten played a ton, but it's been talked about a ton, is very, very popular in Challenger and solo queue, of course, because of the pace that you can push with it.
So we've got Elise, Maokai, Yuumi, Lucian, Ryze, and Heimerdinger all band away here in the first half of things. And the first lock-in by Evil Geniuses will be Sejuani.
Sejuani technically can be flexed up to the top lane, as well as the jungle. I feel like Inspired is much more of a carry player, so I think I would assume right now this is going to be a top lane Sejuani, but they very well could flex it to Inspired. We have to be on our toes after last game.
After support Azir, I'm ready for anything now. Unless it's just strictly like an AD carry. You know what? Varus has been mid before. I'm not even going to call Varus AD carry. All right? I'm playing it safe now.
Fair enough, fair enough. Let's see what they can pair the Varus with. Some more range pushing power. Bottom lane has just turned into this crazy arms race of pushing power ever since Worlds, you know, with the Ashe support, Heimerdinger support, Karma supports, obviously all very popular, but you know, that actually brought Ryze to the Jhin support. We saw Keria played a Caitlyn support in LCK last night as well. Like they're pulling out all the stops to have double range matchups down there and really get that early shove.
Well, along with the Varus, we've got an early Wukong locked in here for Golden Guardians. Most likely going to River in the jungle. Back on the other side for EG.
Shoutouts to his Champions Queue days here with the Singe from Jojo. Some hilarious Worlds Champions Queue games from him.
And we've got the Jax locked in as well with the Ashe. So it'll be Varus and Ashe in the bottom lane here again. Repeating a little bit of what we saw from game number 1. Sylas still a very powerful champion. Wouldn't be too surprised to see that locked in, especially with powerful ultis like the Ashe, like the Sejuani. Big AP ratios on those. All right, Golden Guardians, lock it in.
All right, good. Some comfort there for Young. Definitely one of his most played champions. Very versatile as well, and already some good ults to steal, some good initiation ults.
Yeah.
Any of those Freljord champions, the Ice champions, all have initiation.
And Jax hits you with a big stick now. It's not just the press the button to glow a little and get some defense. You press the button to hit him with the stick, and then you glow and get defense.
Exactly. Then your chain hits are gonna hurt more.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're getting it. Kassadin banned away by Golden Guardians as well. This champion was the last ban on blue side in the previous game, so people are respecting a lot how powerful he feels after the Rod of Ages and Seraph's Embrace buffs that happened very recently.
Those two items are just so insane right now. Those are the sole reason, we get the Rise and Kassadin bans constantly, is because both those items buffed on the same patch, same time. Gives some very, very strong scaling options.
Causes some problems for these mana stackers, but Ssumday will be banned out by EG. They must have been watching game number 1 or literally any League of Legends ever since Ssumday was released, because man, is he strong. Irelia also going to be banned out here. The last ban of the draft for Golden Guardians. EG's got one left to ban away. Who's it going to be, boys? We still going to focus at top lane a little bit more?
Well,
Nautilus banned instead.
With an Irelia ban, that actually raises the priority on Gnar for me, especially with both these players being very prolific Gnar players. One of the reasons why you don't see Gnar picked as much in North America as it is worldwide is because our top laners all love doing counter picks like Irelia and going for early kills. Trying to actually kill and punish that champion. But now with that ban, kind of a protection ban, could be left up as a good frontline option.
Well, there's that Karma that you were talking about earlier. That's one of those powerful pushing supports that you can play to have that bottom lane control nice and early. Evil Geniuses. Oh, we could also say, hey, support Jhin.
Or support Ashe.
Could be either one.
Yeah.
The Azir's locked in. Okay, there's Jhin and Ashe, so this should be mid lane Azir. It should. It should.
Stay.
Yeah.
Stay there.
I'm only staying should. I'm not committing here.
Ooh, and we get an Olaf instead into the top lane here, really looking to try and bully this Jax early on. Let's see if Licorice can do it. I thought maybe we had seen the last of our top lane Jax players when Whippo did not get re-signed to a team, but Licorice gonna pull it out here and try and represent for him.
I'm ready to see it. It's Jax versus Olaf in top lane. Olaf, of course, being able to become immune to the stun possibility of Jax's Counter-Strike with his ulti. You can still damage Jax during Counter-Strike with both your E and your Q, so it's not able to resist him as well as it can do to other fighters. And in the jungle, so going back to River, whenever I think River, I think one champion, and that champion's name is Jarvan. So I'm always interested to see how it's going to work with a champion that's not Jarvan, because I remember when he first joined the league, his stats were like, man, you ever see this guy play Jarvan? Because he wins every game. But on the other champions, not quite as much. So I'm hoping to see that Wukong on Jarvan levels here today.
Yeah, the Wukong is in such a good spot right now. Does so much damage to the backline. It can be so disruptive. So River, with this pick, can actually carry team fights rather than just, I feel like, setting up a lot of teammates like you see with all the early action with the Jarvan. And Wukong, by the way, if you want to jump on that Wukong train, is only going to get better with the hotfix that just dropped today because Black Cleaver got buffed. A bunch of free attack damage and health added to that item too, which is very, very frequently a second item purchase on the Wukong and works very synergistically with the rest of his kit.
And you were saying that you think Black Cleaver is now first item worthy, right?
Definitely could be on multiple AD champions. All right, let's get into our second game of the LCS, baby. Evil Geniuses taking on Golden Guardians with a last-minute substitution because of these issues.
So one thing I immediately want to point out that's different from the previous game, River is not using the Bulbasaur. He's using the Squirtle, or the water fox dog, whatever it's called.
Move speed when you go into brush.
Yes, you get faster when you walk into a brush. It can allow you to close the gap a little bit more quickly. For Wukong, it means getting through a brush, getting to the point where you can pop that W as you're about to walk out and be able to close distance a little bit quicker and get that knock-up and the engage you're working with. I really want to see how well it goes for him, because I was expecting to see non-stop green smite all day long.
All right, let's see. It definitely can give you better positioning, getting engages. I think the smites are actually decently well balanced nowadays. Don't see too much of the red one unless you really want that slow, because the damage is fairly low.
You know my opinion on the red one.
I know. You don't want to see it ever.
Not for any reason.
All right.
But something that's very interesting to see, and something that I think a lot of us are going to be watching, Ssumday not on 100 Thieves. This guy was a legacy player for them. He had been with them for so long, and so now we finally see him on a new squad. He's with EG, and I'm very interested to see how that plays out as Evil Genius's FBI and Vulcan just nice and early here, taking control over the lane, as Licorice will force Ssumday back in top in a similar fashion.
Yeah, there's just so many stories with them. You know, yeah, Ssumday, a transplant from 100 Thieves, FBI as well coming with him. So EG absorbing a little bit of 100 Thieves 2022 power. But then we've got the bottom lane matchups there. You know, Huhi and Stixxay back together after all this time from their CLG days. And who's he going up against? None other than his old lane partner, FBI, at that. So a lot of history going on in this game, and especially the bottom lane as well, which, as we've talked about, you know, has become this arms race with double range champs always trying to shove, and with Vulcan being the one to pick up the Ashe and not being the support Jhin this time around. See if they can actually make this one count. Cleanse used for Stixxay here because of all the CC, and he has to actually use it already.
And top side, Ssumday just trying to strike back against Licorice here a little bit. Young is at 100 HP in mid. He still has one cookie left to eat in his inventory, so a bit of sustain left there. But Jojo is owning this matchup nice and early. Range versus melee can be a little bit tricky for the melee champions more often than not. Inspired is in the enemy jungle. River is also nearby, just going ahead and starting up this chicken camp. Inspired's in this bottom side of the Golden Guardians, but he will not find any camps here unless they want to set up a dive. There's not a whole lot more to do, but it looks like the dive might just be the call. You can see Inspired wrapping all the way around, not even coming from the tri-brush. He wants to make sure he has this complete cutoff angle. Vulcan is down to 400 HP. He has to flash, and Stixxay has to die. It's first blood to the genius.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Inspired takes that super long wrapping route all the way through the top side. Make sure enemy jungler's not coming. Make sure everything is accounted for. Plus, even if they had a ward in the little tri-brush there, not going to see him either. And just like that, 400 gold advantage here for Evil Geniuses off the first blood. And they take down Stixxay.
Well done to EG. This is what I love to see from my MVP junglers. This is what I love to see from a guy that you expect to set the pace, set the tempo for this squad.
And you saw the aftermath there. It is Wukong looking to try and punish him for that. They're like, oh, Inspired just used so much time to go for this gank. The Sejuani is going to be behind on CS as we see it pulled out again. Well played by him, you know, going with the Q, then flash to make sure there was no response possible there from Stixxay. Yep. Gets him before Stixxay could even flash himself. But you know, Inspired had cleared the bottom side, so there was nothing that was actually taken from him. Definitely is going to still be lower in CS, but it's Sejuani. You operate on a lower economy here as a tank. And he even goes back and he gets the deep wards for himself to keep track of River, who is one of the junglers best known in the LCS in previous seasons, especially for getting off a lot of these early creative ganks. Just in this case, Inspired beats him to it.
Yeah, and you mentioned the vision. They keep track of him. They know where he's pathing. They know where he's likely to be. Inspired also knew, because he went through the enemy jungle, that those camps down there were all cleared. So they have an idea where he could be pathing next, unless there's an obvious gank opportunity, which River's looking for here in mid. Jojo has been shoved up the entire time. He has a 15 farm lead over Young. So now River will come around. E2 from Young lands. Jojo, he'll flash out, but he'll take barely any damage doing it.
Pretty efficient gank here from River to be able to get the flash without a lot of time investment. He does have his own ward that he left behind by the Raptors. If you see just below, Sejuani just passed over that ward. It disappears, but it gave them the information. So Golden Guardians are aware Inspired was last seen in this location. Young not going to fall prey.
Yeah, Inspired walks up there, probably just hanging around to make sure River's not immediately still there for some sort of a repeat gank. He allows Jojo to walk back into lane and continue to assert his dominance here. You can see Jojo picking up a very early Oblivion Orb, which this has been discussed on Twitter. I know plenty in the past about how it's not actually the right answer to early Sylas because the healing it disables isn't that much after the changes to Grievous Wounds. I'm not exactly sure on that math because those threads sort of confused me. So I just know that they exist. I'm bringing up the talking point. We'll see how much value he can get out of that against this Sylas that honestly isn't even able to trade into him very heavily. You can see that Jojo has just been running the lane from the very beginning. Young will recall inside Fog of War. Unfortunately, he did have to reset that recall because he wasn't quite out of the range where he thought Jojo would be able to threaten him. So he'll get back to base now. Jojo with a 20 farm advantage. Young, without a teleport, had already used it earlier. Means he won't even be able to jump back to avoid further CS loss as this wave crashes into the turret. And Jojo's feeling great about the lead he's got here.
Yeah, the healing cutting, the grievous wound, such a hot topic because of cutting down on the regeneration, especially these melee champs with the Doran shield as well and innate sustain. But one thing's for sure, on the B patch, the hotfix that's coming out, the buffs to grievous wounds are coming in quickly.
Right,
especially to these component parts. Which is going to make it very, very effective. Even the component parts are getting buffed up to the 40% mark. So you can, if you buy it, and you buy it with intent, it's going to have a bigger impact. River there, able to get the Scuttle Crab with his Olaf lane. Licorice, by the way, quietly taking advantage of his early levels here versus the Jax, getting a CS lead for himself, and being able to push up and allow his jungler some extra territory to work with.
Well, I mean, they're gonna need it because they're down over 1,000 gold at 7 minutes, and there's only one kill on the board, which means most of that money is coming from leads built elsewhere. And a lot of that is right here in mid, 74 to 44 in terms of farm. Everywhere else ain't that far apart, but the mid lane farm difference is just an absolute canyon as Young is being put to the test here by Jojo, and Jojo is setting one hell of a standard.
Yeah, what kind of grade do you think he's getting on that test right now?
Not a very good one. Stixxay had to flash. It don't even matter, baby. Knock, knock. FBI opens up.
And he pops the cleanse at the end there, trying to get off the last ignite tick, but they have the damage already for EG, so that's no summoner spells on Stixxay, and he's in the dirt again.
And then as soon as Licorice tries to go in topside on the Jax, it's just an immediate disengage coming out there from Ssumday. He's just chilling on weak side. It's all good.
I think I heard some FBI chants starting there. Don't know if they're going to gain much power as we move on. That was it. Never mind, Jojo.
Jojo swoops him back, but it's a double swoop as the stolen ulti from Young guarantees they get the kill. And that is so critically important here for the Golden Guardians mid laner as Licorice finds himself in a 1v2 against Ssumday and Inspired. He might be able to win the duel, but it's a team game. And EG gets their third kill.
Time of junglers. Junglers rise up, Flowers. Gank mid, saving the solo laner there. Then the response from Inspired, though, actually is more valuable. So even though it's first strike there for River, jumps in, he's able to get the kill for his Sylas, which is much needed. You just went over how hard he was losing in the CS battle and the pressure battle to Jojo. He would have already worked off the turret plate. Jumps over Raptor Pit with the W. Stolen Azir ultimates, pushes him back both, and they're able to get him into tower range to finish it off. The more valuable one is the follow-up response here from Sejuani, because this one, not only do they just quickly burst down Licorice here, and there's no need to recast this. This is a stand and fight. Just throwing punches there. It turns into the Rift Herald. Early game Rift Herald at that gives so much gold. 300 on the kill, plus if Inspired's able to get some turret plate money with it, will be a very nice pickup for Evil Geniuses.
So both sides managed to alleviate some of the pressure on their losing solo lane, but the difference in that objective might be very, very consequential for the side of Golden Guardians. I want to see where EG decides to use this. When we saw the first Herald used in the previous game, the timer almost ran out, just kind of had to be dropped. We didn't see a full concerted effort from everyone to make sure they were getting maximum value out of that, but they still got first turret with it, as Licorice has to disengage from Ssumday here. And this will be, I think, one of the problems there for Olaf, is as Jax levels up, as he gets these items, man, the clock keeps ticking and only ticks against you.
Yeah, the solo lanes right now for Evil Geniuses are... Oh, never mind.
Oh, no, look away. Look away if you have a sensitive stomach, because Stixxay just got thrown into the CC meat grinder, man. Evil Genius is making it look easy here in bottom lane.
The FBI chants are gaining power. That one I could hear was about 2 times as strong as the first one there. Nice setup, though. Vulcan, Ashe Arrow, dead on FBI. Easily able to follow it all up. It just looks almost too easy there for Evil Geniuses. When you also bring Sejuani with the follow-up ultimate that you don't get to move for Stixxay. I mean, goes down immediately, and it's just another objective like that in a blink of an eye.
Even though it's not a max range arrow, that's about 2 seconds worth of CC from that. you get another, what, second and a half from Deadly Flourish. Then you get another second and a half, 2 seconds from Sejuani's Arctic Prison. Sorry, dude, you're dead. Like,
That's more
way about
seconds
it.
of life than Varus is allocated.
Yeah, unfortunately for Varus, that's the state of things. It's a bit of a struggle down here for the Golden Guardians in bottom lane, and honestly across the Rift, 2.7 thousand gold lead, plus first Drake, plus first Herald, which is yet to be dropped. Still about 1:30 left on that one to see where they want to decide to use it. Evil Geniuses is loving the state of this early game so far. Huhi and Stixxay rotating up through mid, heading towards top side. They got to change something up here because the current state of the game is not working for the Golden Guardians.
Yeah, and Jojo just continues to pressure so heavily with the Grievous Wounds, with his Conqueror build here for the Azir, playing for the long con in the extended fights. Top side though, Ssumday all in.
Oh, they go for it, and they take Licorice down. River's gonna come in, try to swoop one up, get it back. Oh, a nice bit of CC, but River's still got the range to get the kill there. Has to use the R2, and you can see a 1-for-1 trade, about the best Golden Guardians can go for. They thought that they were gonna catch Ssumday off guard, but it's Inspired showing up earlier, and they can burst the Olaf down in time.
Yeah, junglers strike again. Both flashes from both junglers result in top lane kills. Inspired coming down to use the Rift Herald mid. I like this, bring everybody down, push it immediately.
Yeah.
Finish off one more little bit of damage. Okay, they aren't going to be able to finish the entire turret. FBI really wanted to get the last little bits there, but it will remain, and they can't quite squeeze out that turret plate either.
Yeah, the last turret plate that they were going for, or penultimate turret plate, I should say, that one's just barely off, and we only have 1 minute left, so they should be able to push up and get that. Here's another look at what happened top.
It's another full commitment. No one backs down for the top lane play. Licorice had pretty good timing on his W there with the shield, but Inspired flashes, he gets there first as the jungler. They take him down. Then because of his ultimate, forces the flash out of River to...
Oh, nice arrow from downtown there. Gonna stop River from being able to do a whole lot against Jojo. He's still chasing. River's low, but he will not die just yet. Now Vulcan tries to fight him off. There's the stolen ulti. There's another kill. There's Golden Guardians coming to life as the curtain call opens. And FBI looking for those hits. River staying right behind them. Now they gotta be more careful. Oh no! They were looking at the gun, but it's the bluffing Poro out of nowhere to finish it off. Young tries to escape now. Inspired wants to chase him down. Second part of the W hits. And Inspired is just whooping him.
Sometimes when they go with the philosophy of no man left behind, you know, solidarity staying with him, trying to block the shot for him, it just means you both die.
Yeah.
They both get stuck there long enough, and guess what? Sejuani, Inspired, is the richest player in this game. We set it up at the beginning. Oh, he's operating,
low
giving
econ.
up some CS. Yeah, it might be some low econ Sejuani. No, it's the richest in the game after these chills. Here's another look at the tower dive. Arrow into a Jojo ultimate here to try and gain some time. As we know, that's not going to be enough for Jojo to remain alive. River with no fear in his eyes on this Wukong. Just marching ahead, takes down Vulcan as well, finishes him off. But then they're trying to be too safe. They're not even trying to run away and gain a little bit of distance at all. They're just standing there straight. And so FBI is able to delay a shot as well, and Inspired gets there in time. Pick up a double kill for himself.
And I think that's just the fear of, well, what if we're just slightly desynced and he can thread the bullet past the guy trying to block and hit the intended target. Unfortunately for them, it ends up costing them. Inspired is just all over the map. Radiant Virtue completed on this Sejuani.
OP!
In case y'all missed the memo, this item is really strong. And Inspired will force the ulti out of Licorice. Remember, when Olaf's not hitting a target, that thing only lasts 2.5 seconds now. So, unfortunately for the Golden Guardians top laner, Ragnarok has come and gone, and now he's stuck standing there as the Jax takes his turret, the Sejuani takes his camps. It's just bad news here for everybody's favorite fight.
Yeah, Radiant Virtue is extremely, extremely good right now. It makes such a big difference for team fights. Healing everybody up, giving everybody the ability to haste on your team. It's definitely a very good spot for Inspired to spend his money. He also, of course, went with the Boots of Swiftness that we mentioned, so he can get these initiations off, get into really good positions. There's a lot of slows on the enemy team as well, so provides a bunch of value there. And with the Ashe and the Sejuani, EG can just push this early lead ahead so easily. Golden Guardians will take this moment though, while EG are pushing on the top side to at least get a dragon for themselves. So while everything may be falling down around them as far as their defenses, their towers, their base, at least they won't have to worry as much about dragon stacking. I think EG though, their plan is to win the game without it.
Yeah, at this rate, I think the Geniuses might just win it before that 4th dragon would spawn. No matter who's got them, they'll take down the tier 2 up in the top lane. That's the only lane they've taken turrets in, but they got them both. 4,500 gold lead here for EG, as Inspired is still hanging around. He's got no fear, and honestly, he doesn't really need to have any. Now he'll get back over the wall. He knows Golden Guardians are sending more help. Ssumday has taken up his position now in the bottom lane, and you're gonna see Young down there ready to meet him. All right, let's go, boys. The Everfrost's gonna keep Ssumday rooted up a little bit. Doesn't want to go any further in. Ssumday does have the ulti if he wants to try to go for a dive here.
And they're also bringing some trailing support for Ssumday. They've got Azir and Ashe walking down lane, so evil geniuses can easily just bully them off this tower or go for a dive if he stays.
Nope, they don't want to overcommit to this. They see the teleport coming in. They're saying, all right, that's good enough. That's a big global cooldown. We'll take that.
They're all rotating down as well. They're trying to catch them. All 5 Golden Guardians.
Sundisk summoned up. Big advantage of having Azir is the ability to create these zones of threat that opponents cannot easily pass through, and it stops the Golden Guardians' collapse from collapsing.
Still extra gold picked up for EG as Sejuani pushes out on top lane. This Sejuani is getting lane farm, is getting a bunch of kills. This is a very, very rich Sejuani here for Inspired. Meanwhile, as you said, with the Azir turret, they put a stop to any sort of counterplay from Golden Guardians on the bottom side, and FBI no problem farming here against Stixxay in the mid lane.
And Sejuani has Thornmail completed as 2nd item. Lethality Varus is just not going to do any damage whatsoever to this front line. Stixxay is in for a very, very difficult mid game. 3 minutes until the next dragon spawns as the Golden Guardians reassess where they are. And Evil Geniuses invade the jungle. They're going to find the catch here onto Licorice, who's trying to get away. Ssumday's not going to get the stun there with a counter-strike. The Ragnarok continues. Ssumday has to try to get out now, as Young may look for the angle to grab him here. 2nd counter-strike comes up, and it won't matter. Nice punish. Golden Guardians take down the EG top.
Yeah, good defense here from Golden Guardians to get a much-needed kill as they punish. Teleported to the top side just to push out on the lane there for Jojo. Keeps on eating up here with the Azir, continuing to scale, even though he's died twice. Has 189 CS, highest in the game. Looks like he might die again.
It's up to River to do the damage. Huhi will be here to help him. River trying to flash after Jojo. Ends up being able to use the W to go back over the wall. And with that level of control, Jojo dies a 3rd time. And River's feeling good.
But he did teleport up and get another minion wave before he...
yes. Word.
Still keeping up that far, baby. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, the Olaf split pushing here for Licorice is going to arrive in the turret as well. Golden Guardians doing their best to try and chop down on this lead, but it's going to be so difficult for them to deal with so many lanes, especially because they don't have a strong split pushing presence here. It's going to be very difficult for them to get, side lanes under control. And they're facing an extreme team fighter in Radiant Virtue Sejuani, which you mentioned has the early Thornmail. Guess what? The magic damage on your opponent team is pretty far behind. It's just a Sylas and a little bit of random, karma damage there. So there's not a lot that is going to be able to really put a dent in Inspired. So he's going to continue initiating for the team over and over. And then, of course, with the Radiant Virtue, their team fight has so much power once he gets that initiation.
The one silver lining here for the Golden Guardians and for Young specifically, we mentioned how rough the laning phase was for him, and he was down about 30 or 40 CS. With laning phase being mostly over, he's stabilized at that far behind. He's not falling any further back. He does have 2 kills and 2 assists, so he's been part of 2/3 of all the PvP that his team has contributed to. He just hit his 2nd item power spike, so he's got the double active. Sylas is now online of Zhonya's and Everfrost. He's got the opportunity to make plays if he can find the angles, but with a 4,000 gold deficit, the Golden Guardians all have to be on the same page, and they really got to execute here.
I heard the pain in the audience seeing that one live. Dragon's coming up soon, though, so that might be the side of it. 20 seconds. And I don't think anybody from Golden Guardians wants to stick their head out. Inspired plus Vulcan, both itchy trigger fingers.
It's
ready to go
so
for the
dangerous.
turn here, as they say from Evil Geniuses. Fired on the blue buff, though.
Yeah, they had the control ward in the brush there from Golden Guardians, so they saw him. River just fearlessly jumps over, knowing that Inspired can't kill him 100-0 just by himself. So the Golden Guardians will secure their blue. They'll force Inspired away. You can see there, Stixxay's piercing arrow almost blew up the Bulbasaur shield. That's a tongue twister. From Inspired, and this Sejuani just not concerned about the poke coming in from the enemy AD carry. They'll clear out another ward. Young was looking for the angle. He'll at least find the steal on Sejuani ulti. That can be a big team fight changer as Golden Guardians will start up the Drake. You're gonna see Ssumday chasing after Licorice, looking for the 1v1. Licorice doesn't want anything to do with it. He's just gonna be chased down by the Jax. I believe the scaling has occurred. Ssumday needs a little bit more to get him. Ssumday, he fails it. He drops, he dives. The team fight, meanwhile, Inspired is down. Golden Guardians win both fights.
Oh my goodness! He just sent it! That was a full send under tower! And Licorice turns around on the Olaf with the W shield, gets the kill. What, 30 HP left to his name there? Golden Guardians are back, baby! That's 2 dragons!
Golden Guardians are going a little crazy, and with the enemy jungler dead for 10, the enemy top dead for 10, they're looking for Baron, but they call it off.
Or was it EG that went a little crazy? That was definitely some craziness right there with the full send on the tower dive. And the game plan for Evil Geniuses was, looking pretty quick. Now that just extended, even if you're still looking at your pathway towards victory, that just tacked on a lot of time here. Let's take another look at it. So, you know what he's thinking, Ssumday? He sees the ultimate from Olaf, timeout here. So he's like, I can kill him under the next stun. He's got red buff slow on him, but Licorice, he slowed him with the axe, then he popped his W shield, and then turns around, has enough steel to be able to survive just barely under the
Man, that
tower.
was close. Man, that was close.
But Flowers, if you look back at it in hindsight and you're calm, your blood pressure goes back to normal, and you think, he already chased the Olaf down to 30% HP and burned his ultimate. That Olaf doesn't get to play the game, doesn't get to play team fights at all.
Right.
So if he comes back to the dragon, then it's
things can
a
look
much,
very different.
Yeah, much quicker game, probably.
As soon as Licorice gets out of town and the ulti expires, then you bring your helicopter back over to the team fight instead.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, you live and you learn, and Evil Geniuses have lost a big chunk of the lead that they had, but still command a 2,000 gold lead. Black Cleaver's second item is done for Ssumday. Licorice with his Frozen Heart to contribute a bit more to these team fights as well. Remember, this item slows attack speed of everybody nearby, so it's good against both of the enemy bot laners. It's good against the Jax. It's even good against Azir, who one of the few mages attack speed actually matters for. So Golden Guardians, they've shown they can fight back, but they're gonna need to do it a couple of more times if they want to bring this game back to even.
Yeah, fight me under tower. See what happens.
Unfortunately, it's a bit of a difficult conditional that requires opt-in from your opponents. Stixxay sidestepping that one. Nicely done.
Yeah, every juke is so meaningful for him because he's had to have his summoner spells almost on permanent cooldown here with the amount of CC Evil Genius has been bringing to the table, and a nice stabilization for the Golden Guardians, bringing it right back here versus EG, one of the top teams in the league.
Okay, River's still just hanging around, wants to make sure nothing bad happens to Young. River on the Wukong, he has his Black Cleaver done now as well, and honestly, he's been a huge part of a lot of the stuff that has made it so Golden Guardians can hang on in this game and try clawing their way back in. His ults have been good, he's found his moments in his ganks. Ssumday versus Young, I got my money on Ssumday here in this 1v1.
I'm not going to take that bet.
You're not going to take that bet?
I'm not going to take that bet. Looking at the mini-map too, they both have a lot around them. See, wherever Inspired goes is where I'm really looking, because he wants to force things for EG, is well situated too, as long as they play behind him. Some front to back with that Sejuani in the front without a significant flank from Golden Guardians should allow EG to actually get back on track. But Golden Guardians done such a good job here fighting their way back into the game, and now they're utilizing some really good topside pressure for themselves, take out all this vision around the Baron, get some more solo tower gold for the Sylas for Young, level 15 now, almost to the rank 3 ultimate coming in soon.
And the same thing happened bottom. Jojo also picked up the tier 1 turret there, so both mid laners getting that done. Licorice versus Ssumday for the blue buff of Evil Geniuses. It's Ssumday walking away with that one, but Licorice will just go right back to farming everything else in here he can find. The Olaf actually still having a level and farm lead over the Jax, despite the fact that the 1v1s have been seemingly scary for Licorice here for a little while. Going for that Hex Drinker, third item, wants to make sure he has some resistance against some of the magic damage being done by Sejuani, by Azir. Remember, even Jax is a split damage profile champion that often leans towards physical because of his builds. But bottom lane, it's 40 seconds until the next Drake spawns. That last Drake fight was what kind of threw things off for EG.
Yeah, I mean, Evil Geniuses, they need to peel for Jojo. Jojo's going to be the one bringing out so much damage in this team fight. Almost level 16 himself on the Azir. As you mentioned, him kind of counter split pushing the other side of the map. He's the one looking for the consistent damage, especially with his Leandries, plus now he's got some magic penetration with the little crystal as well. Vision control is once again set up pretty early for Golden Guardians, though. River here got the crab, got the wards through River preemptively before Dragon even arrives. And this would be number 3, the Soul Point Dragon.
Well, we have a stopwatch on Ssumday. We've got Zhonya's on Young, and we've got Evil Geniuses saying, take the Drake if you want it, we're going for the Baron. They've got control wards in the pit. A blue trinket's gonna spy the Baron and force EG back, you would think. And yes, it will. You can see him coming around the side now. The stun finds its way onto Huhi, and he'll be the target here at the very beginning. Now River steps in, but he's got to step right back out. Jojo's at 1/3. A nice bit of burst coming back from Golden Guardians. Neither side loses a man, but with River at almost no HP, it'll be EG who has prio over the Drake.
And Jojo's the one who got chunked out for EG. He's got a teleport on the Azir coming off cooldown very quickly. So Jojo just goes back to base. He's walking out. He can help push and always has the confidence that if a fight breaks out, if Golden Guardians got frisky and tried to chase you down, don't worry, I can teleport and join. So Golden Guardians just give it up. Meanwhile, taking over some vision around Baron, taking the opportunity while the other team is at least getting that objective.
You gotta get whatever you can, right? Yeah, it feels bad to trade Dragon for a couple of wards. It feels worse to trade Dragon for nothing. So Golden Guardians trying to at least equalize this battlefield that you would expect the next few minutes of the game to revolve around, right? We're 28 minutes into the game. Champions are working on completing third items. People are powerful enough to really threaten a Baron after a big fight win. Young goes in after Jojo. The double shuffle yet again. Young's not done. Or, okay, never mind, Young's done.
He's not done until Huhi comes down and tells him, you're done here.
We're out of here, man.
Let's relax. No harm, no foul there. Both of them using their ultimates. No summoner spells invested, but a message sent. And we've got actually a bounty on Licorice's head on this Olaf.
Okay.
How the tables have turned from this early game, which was so much, towards Ssumday's favor.
And a big power spike coming in there for Stixxay too as the Muramana evolves. Gonna add a lot of extra damage here to this Varus. You can see Eclipse, Ghostblade, Muramana. The poke build is very strong. It will not hurt Sejuani too badly unless you have 3 stacks in the Mega Charge W arrow. But it'll hurt everybody else pretty severely. There's no armor on Azir. There's no armor on either one of the bottom laners. Stixxay with some good aim can chunk these guys out.
Yeah, plan for Golden Guardians is not to go through the Sejuani. It is around and over the Sejuani with having multiple flank angles. Golden Guardians trying to control vision so they can get those flanks off. If they can get, River around the backside and threaten Jojo, maybe that Varus poke damage over the top to get him low enough, then you've got Sylas, Wukong, and Olaf all making a beeline towards the back line.
Gold leads down to 1.3K from an Evil Geniuses squad that was 4.5K ahead. Golden Guardians has done a great job here so far. Inspired goes to the ulti, but won't get Young. There's only one Sejuani ulti left on the map. It's only Licorice getting hit by the enchanted crystal arrows. The Golden Guardians are feeling all right about that. Young goes in, finds the ulti, but it's only onto Inspired. River's in the front, but he might just die here very early. It's only the clone. Inspired's taken low, taken out. Licorice taking himself straight to the bank. He gets the money for it. Curtain call opens up. River just leaves behind a clone. 4-shot hits Stixxay, but he's full HP, so it only tickles. Golden Guardians are fighting back.
Yeah, and I gotta eat my words. They did go straight through the Sejuani. They just melted that poor O-Rider. Everybody dumping damage into him, and now with the enemy jungler dead, they're gonna start up the Baron themselves. The recall does get off for Ssumday. He's got teleport on the Jax.
And it was Young who threw the Sejuani ulti at that enemy jungler because he knows how much AP he has, and there's no MR on Sejuani. Ssumday's gonna find Young off to the side now, though. Has to use the Zhonya's, keeping himself safe for a little bit longer. Baron is down. It's claimed by the Guardians. Ssumday's coming in here for the counter-strike, and Licorice is ready to turn it right around. Ssumday goes golden, but he might just be a trophy.
They're doing it!
Angel's gone! River gets them! It's 2-0 plus a Baron! Golden Guardians just bought themselves a combo meal!
They just said, F you, evil geniuses! Golden Guardians, it's a new season for them! And they're making the comeback a reality. Gold lead acquired. Wearing purple, the Baron March starts now.
This is one hell of a turnaround. You can see here how it started. Watch Young. He's got Sejuani in his eyes. Just wait a second.
They're still in his eye.
There!
Boom, nailed him right in. This is with the Sejuani passive too. They just go straight through the front door. No flanks needed. No bypassing the tank needed, and then they just kite right back out during the ultimate here from Jhin. Well played by the Golden Guardians. Then slipping back over here, they get the teleport right back out. As you know, they end up with the Baron. They get the extra kill. Sejuani returning the favor.
Chain CC on Young, but he gets away from it. Now he's got to sidestep these bullets. Nice shoot! FBI opens up, and that means they'll stop this push from the Golden Guardians. Huge catch from EG.
Game turning with every single Sejuani ult fired, no matter who's firing.
Yeah, these things are cannons, man.
Inspired and Young, going 1-for-1, blow for blow, and this one is going to overlap with the dragon. So I assume Evil Geniuses will just pick up this dragon, since the death timer for Young is going to overlap with it. He has no teleport, even if it was closer. The ZR turret's put up for EG. They push out mid first. Their bottom lane is already pushing, so they've got 2 lanes of pressure, both around the dragon. They collapse back to the dragon, and that will be number 3, Flowers.
All right, Drake number 3 for Evil Geniuses means the next one gives them a Cloud Soul. Meanwhile, Golden Guardians have Licorice up in the top side. Things are very different from the way they used to look. Now it's Jax who doesn't want to deal with this Olaf, who has his 3rd item completed with Maul of Malmortius. Now Jax will complete his 3rd item with the Zhonya's Hourglass. Ssumday recognizing the importance of being able to jump in with Counter-Strike. Then as soon as it ends, pop the Zhonya's. Then just about be ready for another Counter-Strike after that to guarantee that he doesn't just die. Because Golden Guardians have a 2,500 gold lead. They have the 1 Infernal Drake on top of that. They've got the burst damage to take him out.
Yeah, this started becoming popular for Jaxes to be able to enter the team fights. You know, the value, we've seen it so many times. Various bruisers over the course of history, if they have decent AP ratios, looking to add this to their roster. And Ssumday and the rest of Evil Geniuses now eyeballing that long game that we thought was not going to be anywhere on our radar in this matchup. And yet, Golden Guardians, you see the graph there. They have been able to set themselves up for a very nice comeback.
The graph says it all. Like I was saying earlier, it was 4,500 gold lead for EG, nearly 3,000 now. That's a 7,500 swing in gold. That's so rare in a game of League of Legends, and especially coming out of this particular matchup, right?
And now they can look to pressure those side lanes. Those have become such a good option for them with so many ways to chase down and pick off side laners. Look at the vision that has transformed this map. All of a sudden, Evil Geniuses, you know, their wards are becoming very few and very precious as Golden Guardians start to push in on all sides. So EG making a concentrated effort here with multiple members to try and fight back for some of that vision. FBI doing as much as he can, laying out traps all around the mid lane for a little bit of extra safety. Vulcan still has the hawk shot.
So one thing that I like to keep my eye on at this point in the game, hold on now. There we go, okay. Oh wow, everybody just exits immediately. The ulti from FBI not gonna do a whole lot, but what I was about to say is keep your eyes on the playmakers. Keep your eye on Vulcan's arrow, on Inspired's ulti over on the other side. If Stixxay can land a Chain of Corruption or Young can steal one of those 2 tools from EG, whoever starts the fight off on their terms, that's usually who's been winning these. As River's gonna find Jojo, he'll walk away from it for now. River goes right back in, and he just blends him. River likely to die here, but he has the stopwatch to keep himself alive. Ssumday has to flash just to get away. FBI coming in over the wall, but he can't find the kill on the enemy jungler. EG lose 1, and Golden Guardians barely gets their man out.
Oh, I would guess under 50 HP before that regen started happening there. Oh my goodness. River almost got sniped at the end, but he gets the kill and survives. The tale to tell about it. Jojo down once again, 0-5 for him after the assassination there from River flashing in. And the melee train does find its target. No real objective picked up afterwards though. Here's another look at it. He gets the Karma speed boost. He knows he's going one way. Moves to the other side of it. W, flash Q, ultimate, boom. Finishes him off.
And he turned back around, just moved an inch closer to Ssumday with the last split second of his ulti to get the knock up on the Jax too, which probably is what prevented him from taking the one extra auto attack that would have killed him from that FBI shot.
Yeah, FBI trying to get the snipe there. Gale Force with the shot over the wall, not able to get it. Golden Guardians rising up on social media as well, not going down easily to say the least. They've got the lead here, 3.8K now, the gold lead. Only down one dragon to Evil Geniuses.
1.5 minutes until that dragon. Some really important items that could come online between now and then is a Guardian Angel for River's Wukong, is a Blade of the Ruined King for the Jax of Ssumday. Being able to turn these pieces into completed items could be the difference between winning or losing this fight. And for Golden Guardians, if you lose out on the fight, you lose out on the soul.
I like what Golden Guardians are doing here. Young on bottom, getting the split push going for themselves. Now they can get these side lanes under control. He's got teleport. Sylas pushes one wave. He cancels the recall and goes to push another. It's fairly dangerous since they have no wards to cover him. And so he's going to walk back over towards this dragon. Meanwhile, Licorice on top with Olaf has no teleport, so if they're going to bring him back over for it, should be pretty soon.
There is so much damage on young Sylas with Void Staff, with Rabadon both completed. Sejuani still has no MR outside of her Radiant Virtue.
Oh, they're just going to burn it.
Golden Guardians deciding that they will dare Evil Geniuses to come and stop them. Young has the stolen Sejuani ulti. He can throw it at Inspired if they want to keep him away from the pit. There comes the Ashe arrow from downtown. Stixxay patient on the cleanse. Inspired goes in. Young's ready to fight back. Curtain call's still open. One last shot from FBI ain't gonna find much. Baron's still low. Golden Guardians have to make a call. Do you want to stay on it? Do you want to regroup? What's it gonna be? Licorice half HP, still has the Ragnarok ready. Ssumday wants to look, ain't gonna find.
Oh
Young and
God.
River on the backside of the Baron pit. Baron at 3K. Young and River ready to fight for it if they need to. Baron throws out his tail, just trying to mess with him a little bit. Young having a flash. He goes stasis. Baron resets. River looking to protect. Jumps right back in. Tries to find the knock-up. Not gonna find the angle here just yet. There's not really an ulti to even use. Ssumday and Inspired looking to camp the resurrection. They go right back in. They're gonna find some damage. Ssumday gets Young, but now he's gonna be careful. River's still ready to go. And Ssumday's right back into the fight as FBI kills off Licorice. The Golden Guardians are falling, but Stixxay gets the rain of arrows in the last second to try to hold on. Golden Guardians are erased, and it's a triple kill of an FBI.
FBI finishes them off. It was a split call. You can see in comms, FBI was going for the dragon. Inspired wants the bear and says, get your butt back over here and finish this thing off. These stopwatches, Flowers, these clutch Zonias on both sides contribute to how long this team fight was. This was a crazy long fight around Baron. The ultimate, the engage here onto the Varus, but then the turnaround, they can't lock down Inspired this time. So they use so many ultimates. Wukong ultimate down, the Varus ultimate as well as the Ashe arrow used as well. Moving up here for the positioning with just pure damage, they force the Golden Guardians out of the Baron pit, then turn on themselves, 5,000 health and dropping. They get vision of River. They see the Wukong here positioning like it's going to W back over the wall, so they don't want to steal it, and they turn on Young, who uses the first Zonias of the team fight. Ssumday then goes for the assassination as he jumps right back in on him. As his helicopter spinning, finishes him off right under it. Does get the burst damage. Inspire uses his stopwatch as well as Ssumday using his on the top side. Does finish off the extra kill onto the carry here, but once he turns back around, it's two split fights with Varus finishing off the kill over here, but FBI untouched.
And Ssumday's stopwatch was so huge there because it's exactly what I said. It's Counter-Strike into stopwatch into immediate Counter-Strike again. It stopped River from being able to clean him up and bought enough time for EG to solidly win the fight. Off the back of the Baron, they're also going to claim the Soul. So with Cloud Soul now backing him up with that extra movement speed, EG will once again take control of the game.
That was a critical assassination from him. Getting the kill onto Young right before popping it. See if they can pull it off again. EG doubling their efforts here. Now, with Baron, with the Cloud Soul, trying to get back on track. As we said, the game plan was certainly extended, but they've been able to correct course. And once again, we'll knock at the doors here of Golden Guardians. Very simple game plan. Push up mid, push up bottom lane here. Once Ssumday arrives with those minions, transition over. You can rotate from mid lane, finish off the secondary outer tower here.
And that was JoJo's first kill participation of the game at that 39-minute fight. JoJo was 0-5-0 before that. It's been a very rough game past laning phase where he had all those farm advantages and pressure advantages for himself, but now he's been able to contribute. His farm is still sky high. He's doing great there, but Evil Geniuses will continue using this Baron pressure. They've got the Baron on FBI. They're gonna use that to keep all these minions nice and enchanted. Let's see if they can stop any attempt coming out from the Golden Guardians as River goes in. He wants to keep it going. He won't be able to find the kill on the way on FBI, and now the Golden Guardians might just get punished as Fire barely staying alive now too. Vulcan grabs the kill on Young, and they're gonna try to protect everybody else getting out. But no, Licorice will die to the burn, and River has to flee, but the soldiers deny his escape. Stixxay and Huhi, the last two left alive. FBI's on the chase. A double kill back over to Jhin. And Inspired does not want to leave Huhi alive. A little bit more damage. Not quite enough just yet, but he does not care. It's an ace for Evil Geniuses, and the game will end here.
What a battle here in game number 2 between the Evil Geniuses and Golden Guardians. JoJo now having a laugh about it. What a game from him. Big 1-6, baby, at the fountain.
That's how you tilt him. I'm sure he's typing the better mid wins in all chats to go with it, as Evil Geniuses, what looked like a stomp turned into a war, but the outcome remained the same. One last one just for old time's sake from JoJo. EG with their first win of 2023.
Woo! What a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Having some fun in that one. Inspired with a really, really strong early game on the Sejuani, setting things up for the team. Some hiccups there, and Golden Guardians showing a lot of heart on stage, not giving up. Big, big comeback from them. Get themselves into a position to really make this one close.
I mean, props to Young. He has to fill in as a substitute at the 11th hour. He's up against the guy who got all-pro mid laner first in everything in the previous split. He gets his ass kicked in lane, as you would expect. He never tilts. He never has any sort of an issue. He stays in there. He farms up. He builds up. And he had some of the biggest plays for Golden Guardians that kept him in this game.
Certainly did. Some of the stolen Sejuani ultimates, getting them some real big hope. The Baron takeaway. But EG still come out on top. They get the win. Right up there tied with Cloud9 in first place.
I'm loving these top lane matchups that we're getting to see too. I'm not a big fan of those Maokai versus Ornn, I'll slap you a little bit, just give me the minions type of fights. I'm liking the Olaf versus Jax. I'm liking Ssumday versus Jax. I like seeing these top laners go for the outplays and the maneuvers like this. And man, we said we wanted game 1 to set the pace for the day. Game 2 definitely kept up, man. That was some fun League of Legends to watch. I'm impressed with how well Golden Guardians was able to fight back, but EG still showing that even if they start to throw it away a little bit, they know how to go recover it too.
And not only is game number 3 going to keep the pace going with a hype matchup, we also have a little surprise. So.
Oh, yes. And remember, my friends, Fantasy LCS is happening on Sleeper. It's not too late to sign up and start a league with your friends, then crush their dreams with your own LCS super team that may or may not now include Young. You can head on over to sleeper.com or sleeper.app to give it a try. And with that, we're going to go ahead and toss to commercial, but don't you go anywhere, because Vulcan joins up with everybody back at the analyst area after the break.
They give us love. They give us joy. They give us lessons in sharing. So give them some love back. And what says love better than something you can chew on? Use your MasterCard to make secure purchases from anywhere. So your gift will end up in the right hands or mouth. Because being there for each other is priceless.